What's up guys, welcome back, and in this video I'd like to add some UI interactivity to our application using Alpine.js. Now in the last video we built this search dropdown using Livewire and it works great, but it's still missing some nice UX additions such as clicking away to hide it and pressing escape to hide it and little things like that. So this doesn't require a full round trip to the server, so we have to make use of JavaScript to manipulate the DOM. Now we have a few options here. We can use vanilla.js or use Vue.js or use Alpine.js. So for me, when I'm in the context of a server-driven app, like we are here, and we're just doing some basic toggling of UI components, I would choose Alpine over Vue or vanilla JavaScript. It's very simple to use, doesn't require a compilation step, and it also plays well with Livewire since it was created by the same person. So if you want to learn more on Alpine.js, I have a video on that, and I also have an entire course on Scrimba, which I will link to below. So let's go ahead and get started. Start off by installing Alpine, and this is one of my favorite things about Alpine. You can just drop it in and it starts to work without any compilation steps. So let's drop this into our application. Let's go to our main blade layout and let's just drop it in here. So I'll put it after the styles. Okay, and now it's installed. And the first thing I want to do is click away from this and I want to hide it. So right now that doesn't work. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's open our search dropdown component that we made in the last video using Livewire. Search dropdown, sorry. Okay. And we have to define some state on some parent tag that houses everything we're going to interact with. So in this case, I'm just going to put it here. And we have to specify the state as an object. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do is open is true by default. And make sure to put quotes on that. Okay. And for the actual dropdown, which is this div right here, we want to use X show on it. So X show. So this is like V show or VIF in Vue. And we just set it to is open. So that should still show. Nothing should have changed here. So when we open it, that should still show. But now we can add this click handler and we can do it on clicking away. So we want to put it on the entire container like I'm doing here. So once I click off that container, then is open is false. And then that will hide it. So let's see if this works. So let's try again. So the initial show is handled by Livewire, but now if I click off of it, it's handled by Alpine. Okay, so now I want to do the same thing when we press escape. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to put that on the actual dropdown. So right here, let me just reformat this. So each attribute is on its own line. Okay. And we're going to listen for the escape key, but we want this to happen on the entire window. So it doesn't matter what's focused because the window is listening for this key down event. So we can just add the .window modifier and then we just set is open to false. So now the escape key should work as well. Okay, let's try that. So let's try this again. Avengers. Livewire opens it and I'm pressing escape here and it works. Awesome. Now another case I want to handle is when we show it initially and then we either press escape or click off of it and then refocus it. Then I want it to show up again. So let's do that. Again, very easy. So I'm going to put it right here. So we're listening for the focus event on the input. Actually, this should be on the input. So I'm going to put it up here instead. So let me just reformat this. And I'm going to do at focus. So when this input is focused, I want to show it. So is open is true. And I'm going to put this key down escape window on there too, just so we have all the event listeners in the same place. It doesn't matter where you put it because it's being listened to on the entire window. So I'll put it here. And let's see if this works, if I spell focus right. Cool. Let's refresh. Let's give it a search query. Let's press escape. Let's click off of it so it's not focused, and let's click on again, and now it shows. Awesome. So another case I want to add here to make it a bit more keyboard friendly is to hide it when the input is not focused. So there's two cases for that. So if the input is focused like it is here, and I shift tab off of this, I want this to hide. So let's take care of that case first. And I just found a bug here. So let's just put the Z index on this to be higher. So that would be this. So let's see if that bug is fixed. Say Z50. I think that's the highest Z index in Tailwind. So let me just refresh this. Let's try that again. Okay, cool. So let's take care of that case. So shift tab on this. I want this to hide. So let's do that. So we can do multiple keys like in view. So key down dot shift dot tab. And we just set is open to false. Is open equals false. Okay. That should take care of that case. So let's refresh. Avengers and shift tab. Okay, cool. Focus and it still shows. Awesome. And the other case is when I tab on the last item here, I want it to hide because it's no longer focused. So let's do that. So that would be within the for each we have down here. And we only want it to happen on the last item. So that would be on this anchor tag. So let me just reformat this. So let's just do this. We can do an blade if here. And I'm going to put it on its own line. And the condition is if we're on the last loop iteration. So if loop last is a helper in Laravel. So this only happens if it's the last iteration in the loop. And we can do key down dot tab. So we hide it. So is open is false. Okay, so that should work. One more time. And we can tab through this. And if I press tab here, that should hide. Awesome. So there is a bug here. So let me show you it. So if I tab here and I press shift tab here, this should go back. But since it's listening for the tab event, it hides it, which we don't want. Let me show you that again. So shift tab works on the other ones. It goes back, no problem. But the problem here is it's picking up the tab event on shift tab. And in view, there is a keydown.tab.exact modifier. So it only listens for the tab press exclusively and not shift tab. And I think there is an issue right now in Alpine that looks to fix that. So this bug should be fixed eventually. So I'm just going to leave it. And what would be even nicer for keyboard accessibility, which I'm not going to do here, is arrow key support. So you can press up and down here and scroll through the items we have here. But that is actually quite a bit of work. I actually did the same in Vue. So you can take a look at that if you want to see how you would implement that. So it might not work because of that exact modifier that doesn't exist yet. But yeah, I'll leave a link to that video I did in Vue if you want to check that out. So one more nice thing we can add here is transitions. So if you look at the documentation, there are a few ways to do transitions, but the easiest is to just add some modifiers to the show functionality. So we can just tack these on. So I just want a basic fade. So if I just add X show transition opacity, we can see that happen. So wherever my X show is, X show right here, we can just do transition.opacity and that will give it a basic fade. See if that works. So it won't happen on the first render because that's being handled by Livewire, but there is a way to make Livewire and Alpine communicate. But I'm not going to do that here. But now, anything we do on the front end, say if I press escape, well, that didn't work. Let's try again. So I refreshed. So that's the re-render. If I press escape, there should be a fade on this. And there is. Okay. Let's see if it still works. So now it's not re-rendering after I start typing in again, after I hide it. So let me fix that. So I think if I just add another key down event on here, that should fix it. So key down, and that's for any key, is open, is true. So let's try that. So there we go. Hide it. and there's a fade there. And if I type something else, it shows up again. Awesome. Okay, let's continue to add more interactive elements here using Alpine. So the next thing I want to do is a modal for this play trailer button. So right now all it does is open this up in a window and it just links to the YouTube video trailer. But I want this to open in a modal with the YouTube video embedded. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here I am in my show blade, and this is the button for the play trailer right here. So I'm gonna paste in some code here, and let me just explain it to you. So let me uncomment this. So this is just the CSS for a modal, and I don't want to make this video about writing CSS to make a modal, so I'm just pasting it in. So let me just reindent this. Okay, so this is the parent element, and as you see, we have this background color RGBA, so the background is dark once the modal is opened. So let me show you how this looks. So this should be in a state where the modal is opened. Okay, cool. And this is just an absolutely positioned element with a height full, so height 100% and a width 100%. And that is going to be our modal, and all we want to do is toggle this on or off based on if we press that button. So it might be easier to see if I remove this fixed. So right now it's going to be in the document flow because it's not fixed or absolute. So you'll see it underneath here. So that should be a bit easier to see. And all we want to do is toggle this on or off based on if you press this. So if I put it back to absolute, you'll see that it is a modal, but absolute doesn't work. I mean, it works sort of, but if you scroll down, it doesn't work. So we have to make it fixed. And that should make our modal. Okay. And like I said, we have the width full and height full to give it the width and height of the entire page. Now let me comment this out as well. And this is just where the modal content goes. So let's say lower 50 or something. You'll see that here. Cool. So let's put this YouTube embed back. And there's something I want to show you here. So to make YouTube embeds responsive, you have to do a little trick here. So I have an article here you can take a look at. And let's see, 56.25. So yeah, here's what you have to do to make a YouTube embed responsive. You have to have a wrapping element, and you have to add these styles to it. And then for the iframe, you have to add these styles to it. So that's exactly what I did here using utilities. So I have for the wrapping div, overflow hidden, relative, and padding top 56.25%. So it's a bit different, but it's pretty much the same thing. So relative is the same. This is padding bottom, but padding top works as well, which I have here. And I guess relative, sorry, height 0 and overflow hidden are interchangeable. And then for the iframe, I have absolute, top 0, left 0 with full, height full. So that's all of this stuff right here. And that should make the modal responsive. So if we go back, let me just put this back, save, refresh, and you'll see this is responsive. Cool. So now we just have to toggle this with Alpine, and then we just have to replace the embed URL, which we already have. So let's do that. Okay, so you have to add a piece of state. So we want it to be around our modal here, which I added here, and also our play trailer button. So I'm going to wrap these two things in a div here. So that should be this. I'm just going to wrap it in a div. And that should still look okay, hopefully. Okay. But now we can add some state here. So let's do x data equals is open true. Or let's say false to begin. And on our modal, this is where we want to x show it based on that piece of state. So x show equals is open. Okay. And the button is the thing that toggles it. So let's add it to this button here. Actually, it's a link right now. So let me just change this to a button. So that would be this. Okay. And we'll remove that href in a second because we're going to make use of that. But let's set a click handler here. So add click equals is open equals true. So now that should show once I click the button. So when I refresh, this should be gone. Okay, but if I hit this button, it should show. Awesome. So now we just have to add an event to close it here. So that would be the close button. So that's right here somewhere. Times, yeah, right here. So we can do the same thing. Click equals is open equals false. Cool. And the close should work now. Open, close. Okay, so now we just have to replace the embed URL with the correct one. So let's do that. So we just have to replace this embed key right here with the thing coming back from the API. So let me delete that. And the thing coming back from the API is this right here in the href. So let's grab this. Let's get rid of the href. And let's add that to our embed here, right here. Okay, see if this works. And I have an error with the rendering. There's an extra quote here, so let's remove that. Okay. Cool. Click it, and there is the trailer for Joker. And just to confirm that it works for other movies, let's go to a different one here. Say Ant-Man, play trailer, and it works. Awesome. Cool. So if you want to add a transition to that, same deal. We can just do transition. I just want to fade. And that should transition in. Sorry, I put it in the wrong one. Should be here. Transition.opacity. There we go. Cool. So I want to do one more modal for the images here. So if I click on an image, I want a modal to come up with a larger image. So let's quickly do that. So again, I am going to paste that modal in right after the images. So where are the images here? So this is the cast, and here are the images. So after the for each here, I'm just going to paste this in, just like what we did for the modal we did above. Okay, let me uncomment this, and that should show the modal by default. Okay, so let's go ahead and define a piece of state on a parent tag. So I'm going to put that right here because this houses everything that we have. So there's the modal, and yeah, that should be good within our scope. So let's add a piece of state here. So xData equals. So we need to keep track of the state of the modal if it's opened, like we've been doing. So is open is false. And we also need to keep track of which image we're currently on and the URL for that image. So we're going to keep another piece of state called image and default of an empty string. So let's go ahead and add the x show on our modal here. So x show equals is open. And let's open it if we click on an image. So that would be right here for the a tag. So right here, so let me just put this on its own line. Okay. And let's do click prevent because it's an anchor tag. And we want to prevent the default. And it's set is open to true. So this should just open the modal we have. And it's just hard coded for now. Let's see if this works. Okay, cool. And it's close it as well. So let me just copy this. And let's put it in our close button here. So right here. And we can paste that in. And we don't need to prevent because it's a button. And set it to false. Make sure this works. Open, close. Okay. But now we also have to keep track of which one we opened, and then we want to just display the image in here. So when we click on it up here, we want to update that image state. So I'm going to do multiple lines here. And we just want to set the image here. So image equals, and it's going to be a string. And we can get this from right here. So let's just copy this. But we want a bigger size here. So let me just paste this in. And to get the bigger size, we just have to change this width 500 to original. And that should give us a larger image. Okay. And now we just have to go in here. We don't need this iframe because this is for YouTube. And we just want an image here, so we can get rid of all this. And we can do image. Now the source is going to be dynamic. It's going to be based on the image that we are changing based on the click. And let's just say poster here. And let's see if this works. So refresh, click this, and it doesn't work. Sorry about that. You probably saw my typo here. Let's change that. And let's try again. There we go. There is the larger image. Cool. And I also want to add the escape key on this, so we can do that as well. So let's just add it to the button here. So I'm just going to duplicate this. It will be key down dot escape dot window, and that should work. Refresh, open this image, escape, and it closes. Awesome. One more quick thing I want to take a look at is pressing the slash button and having it focus the search. So you'll see this on documentation pages such as Tailwind. So if I scroll down here, press search, slash, it will focus this and you can type. Same with Laravel. So if I scroll down, press this, it will focus that and you can search easily. So let's go ahead and do that. So back to our code. So that would be in our search dropdown. So we need a reference to the search dropdown DOM element, and to do that we can make use of refs. So you can do this in Vue as well, but in Alpine, to define a ref, so we want this input because we want to focus it, we do x-ref and then give it a name. Okay. And now I want to listen for the key down event and specifically the slash button key press. So, and that's going to be on the entire window, so I can put that wherever. So I'll just put it right underneath key down dot window. And there's no modifier for the slash button, so we have to do that manually. So I'm going to do multiple lines here. So I'm just going to do if event dot key code, and the key code for slash for forward slash is 191. So 191. Then what do we want to do here? We just want to grab the ref. So to grab the ref in Alpine, we just say ref, $refs, the name of it. So I named it search, and we can do whatever we want with it. So in our case, we just want to focus it. And that should work. Let's see if this works. So back to our app. If I scroll, let me refresh. Okay, I'm going to press slash here, and that doesn't work. Sorry, I have two closing braces here. Should only be one. Let's try that again. So I'm going to scroll down, I'm going to press slash, and it does work. Cool. Not sure why it types it in here. Let's see. If I add event.prevent default, maybe that will work. Okay, scroll down, press search or slash, and we can search. Awesome. So there you have it, guys. We've added some UI interactivity to some of our components using Alpine.js. As you can see, it's very easy with no compilation steps, and it's very similar to Vue without all the overhead. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.